Good Tavach, this is Gemara Pesachim Daf Chav Tes, learning for Chodesh Tevis. Has been sponsored by the Schos Lilu Nishmasa of Le'arash Abbas Aryelib, as well as the Schos Lilu Nishama of Aryelib and Yaakov, their Nisham Yishav and Aliyah, and the Schos of all the learning should be Ilu Nishmasam. Of course, O Achelim Chaim Pinchas Ben Malki Demir Ben Akir Men Ben Vigel Chaim Mesler Shalom Zimmer Rezel Sar Bas Knendel Ita Basim Bas Chaim Chaim Sares Yisrael Mendel the Pinchas Shavlei Shalom Bas Nanu Vigel Shulchano Follow me to the name of Chana Rezel Libracha Bas Tavia Musa Bechel Bas Nehitile Huva Besar Shachli Yisrael as well as Choziva Kvatalea Bas Ita. We're going to pick it up on the bottom of Chav Chesem Beis. Just one announcement, I guess we'll call it, is that the Chaylim list, if we could just update it, if anyone has any names to take off, put on, change. We haven't updated the list in a while. Let's just make sure. Hopefully we'll remove some names for good reasons, but just to keep things updated. Let's pick it up from Daf Chav Ches. So in Chav Ches Amud Aleph, which was Shabbos' Daf, we had a Mishnah. The Mishnah over there, actually, we'll just go back for one moment. Chav Ches Amud Aleph, you don't see it in front of you, but actually we'll pull it up in front of you. The Mishnah here, let's read this Mishnah one time together. It says the Mishnah one more time. Chamid shel nachri shavar lav pesach muter ba'ana. A very simple din. The chametz of a guy that pays a class is mutter. Of a Jew, it is aser. Why? Okay, that was Chav Ches. The Gemara on Chav Ches also brought down three different opinions. And we said then that we're going to get back to today why those three opinions are not like the Mishnah. Those are the opinions of Rav Yehuda, Rav Shimon, and Rav Yosei Glili. Working on backwards, Rav Yosei Glili says everything is mutter. Even chametz on Pesach is mutter ba'ana. Rav Shimon says before Pesach, after Pesach, everything is mutter. On Pesach, there's an Isser Lav in karis. And then Rav Yehuda says, which obviously is the most conventional understanding, that before Pesach, from the 6th hour, after Pesach, Cham Shal Pesach, is all Aser Belav. On Pesach, there's an Isser Lav and karis. So those three opinions, says the Gemara now, the Gemara that we're beginning with, the last line of Chachas and Beis, Mani Mas Nisan. Rav Yehuda, if it's opinion of Rav Yehuda, Chametz Tama Kamar. What did Rav Yehuda say? Rav Yehuda said, when Rav Yehuda explained that all chametz is aser, he just said chametz before Pesach, after Pesach, on Pesach. I feel the nachri. So the words of Rav Yehuda sound like what's aser, even the chametz of a guy. And what did we just learn in the Mishnah? That the chametz of a guy is not forbidden. V'yi Rav Shimon, and if it's the opinion of Rav Shimon, moving along to Chav Tes Amud Aleph, the Yisrael Nami Mishika Shari, Rav Shimon permits the chametz of a Yisrael, of a Jew, after Pesach, so it can't be Rav Shimon. Because our Mishnah only said that chametz shavar Pesach of a guy is mutter. Rav Yosei Glili afilu toich zmani nami mishka shari. Rav Yosei Glili says it's mutter even on Pesach. So all three opinions seemingly have issues. Rav Yosei Glili doesn't shtim at all because he says everything is mutter, and the Mishnah obviously says something is aser. Rav Yehuda doesn't work, I should say, because Rav Yehuda seemingly says everything is aser even of a guy, and Rav Shimon doesn't work because Rav Shimon comes along and he says even the chametz of a Jew is mutter. So who is the Mishnah that says that after Pesach a guy is mutter and a Jew is aser? Says the Gemara Mishka Shari Ba'ana Amar Rav Yaakov. We're going to have two different answers. The first answer is going to be Rav Yaakov. The second answer is going to be Rava. Says the Gemara three lines down. Amar Rav Yaakov Eilam Rav Yehudi. Really, the Mishnah is going with the opinion of Rav Yehuda, who seemingly said that everyone's chametz after Pesach is aser. So how does it fit? Because the Mishnah said that a guy's chametz is mutter. Says the Gemara, that's really what Rav Yehuda holds. Rav Yehuda really holds when Rav Yehuda said his din that everything is aser, he's referring to a Jew. Why? V'yolav sarda achilim isar deria. Yehuda learned, of course, yesterday on Friday, Shabbos actually, on Chav Ches and Beis, we said Rav Yehuda has three different psukim, lo'yechal, lo'yiseichal, and so says the Gemara now, one of those psukim, sar da achilim isar deria, equates the leaven of eating like seeing. Masar deria, we know the din, shal chaya ataraya, aval ataraya shal acherim, because the Torah says you cannot see your chametz, which implies other people's chametz, and as well, Shal Gavaya, Hektish is chametz, which is important to keep in mind from and base today. But again, other people's chametz of a guy or a Hektish, Afsar da Chila. So too, when it comes to eating it, meaning where you just said the din by seeing the chametz. So the Gemara now is saying that we equate the seeing to eating, just like you can see the chametz of a guy or akdish, so you can eat the chametz of a guy or akdish after Pesach, and that's how Rav Yehuda could fit. Again, the issue was Rav Yehuda seemingly said that all chametz is aser after Pesach, and just the Gemara, it's not true. The chametz of a guy is mutter after Pesach. Now the Gemara just explains where the confusion in the Mishnah lied. Ubedinu, and in reality, the Mishnah discussed what? Discussed the hana of chametz after Pesach. So says Rav Yehuda, says Rav Acha bar Yaakov in his first answer, really the Mishnah could have taught me that you're even allowed to eat the chametz, not just get hana from it. The reason it said that you're allowed to get benefit, it didn't say you're allowed to straight up eat it, was just because to keep it parallel from the first part of the Mishnah that said that a Jew, you cannot get benefit. Number one. And number two, really you should have taught me that even toich zmanoi, you're allowed to get hana. Because again, if Rav Yehuda is learning that there's a differentiation between the sa'ar, like we learned, are you allowed to see a chametz's guy? Are you allowed to see a guy's chametz over a Pesach? Yes, that was the same drasha of shalcha yataraya. You're only allowed to see your own chametz, but a guy's you're allowed to see. When was that drasha said? Even on Pesach itself. Says the Gemara Zubedin, in reality, what should the Mishnah have said? So that's the reason, because spoke about a Jew after Pesach, so spoke about a guy after Pesach. But in reality, says Rav Yaakov, the chametz of a guy, number one, according to Rav Yehuda, is mutter after Pesach. Number two, after Pesach, and what's it mutter in? Not just hana, but also achila. Number two, it's even mutter on Pesach itself. Why didn't we talk about it? Because we spoke about a case of a Jew after Pesach, so we did the same thing with the guy. Teretz number one, again, Rav Acha bar Yaakov, third line over here. Says the Gemara, Teretz number two, and Teretz number one was going with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Teretz number two, Rav Amar Leilam Rav Shimini. Really the Mishnah is Rav Shimon. Really the Mishnah is Rav Shimon. For Rav Shimon, Kanasa, Kanis. Rav Shimon created Kanas. What was the problem? If it's Rav Shimon seemingly on yesterday's daf taught us that you're allowed to get benefit after Pesach even from a Jew's chametz, and on the Mishnah said only from a guy. What's going on? Says the Gemara today, Rav Shimon agrees. Shimon agrees that a Jew's chametz is going to be usher after Pesach. Why? Kenas. Since you were over by owning the chametz, therefore we kenas you, we give you a fine that you cannot get benefit from that chametz after Pesach. Two terutzim. Rava goes with Rav Shimon. Rav Acha bar Yaakov goes with Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, apologies, I don't know what's going on here. Says the Gemara, here we go. Bishlama. Bishlama, we're holding about 15 lines down. First line is Bishlama. Chavtes Amar Aleph. Bishlama Rava, Aina Diktani Shal Yisrael Aser. According to Rava, now we go into the last statement of the Mishnah. That seemingly interesting statement. That the Mishnah concluded, Shenemar lo yir lecha sa'ar. Says the Gemara, according to Rava, which was the second teretz who went with Rav Shimon, I understand that which it said. That makes a lot of sense. Because that is where Rav Shimon is going to learn out that this whole din is only going to be by a guy and not going to be by a Yisrael. What's the reason? That only works according to Rava. However, according to Rav Acha bar Yaakov, we're bringing down the wrong pasuk. Because Rav Acha bar Yaakov went with the opinion of Rav Yehuda. According to Rav Yehuda, what's the reason why a Jew's chametz you cannot get benefit from after Pesach? Lo yochal chametz mibayle. That's the reason, not because of the pasuk of Lo yirlecha sa'ar. So ask the Gemara, what's going on over here? What's going on? The end of the Mishnah seemingly is incorrect according to Rav Acha bar Yaakov. Says the Gemara, the obvious teretz, misavers asifa koi areisha koi. Where is that last line going on? It's not going back. It's not going on the Seifa, which of course that's what you would have thought of the progression of the Mishnah. No, it's going back in the Reisha. What was the Reisha? The Reisha was the case of the guy. And the setup of the Mishnah was Guy mutter b'ana chavish of Pesach. Yisrael asur b'ana chavish of Pesach. Shenemar this pasuk. So we thought the Shenemar is going back in the line of Yisrael. Says the Gemara, no. Shenemar is going back in the Reisha of a guy. And now the Gemara explains Vachi Kamar. And this is what I'm sorry. I don't know why the page keeps on flipping on me. I apologize. One more time. Says the Gemara, V'hachi ka'amar. V'chamid shall nachri she'avar lav ha'pesach mutter b'hana. That was the first line of the Mishnah. Why? Mishum shenemer lo yireh lecha shelcha yata raya v'lata raya shel acherim v'shel gavaya v'yolav sardach let me start deriyah. And therefore we learn at the start of eating from the start of seeing. Therefore Rav Acha bar Yaakov defends his opinion that it's going back in the din of the guy and not going back in the Yisrael. Again, according to Rava, the Mishnah was great. Lo yireh lecha. There, the Chasar teaches me why a Jew's chametz you cannot get benefit from after Pesach, according to Rav, because Rav goes with the Rav Shimon that Pashit why a Jew you cannot get benefit from after Pesach, and the whole din is that it's a kanas, like Rav Shimon taught us. What was the kanas learned from? The Yireh Lecha Chametz. That's why we have a kanas. Because why? Because it was Yireh Lecha. I'm sorry if I didn't explain it clearly. One more time. Rav Shimon learned that really, in reality, from the psukim, it should be what din? It should be mutter to have enough from the chametz. From what chametz? Yisrael and Goy. Chametz Shavla Pesach, according to Rav Shimon, is mutter. But then we had a problem because the Mishnah clearly taught us that's not true. Said Rava that really, I'll tell you, it's really going with Rav Shimon. Rav Shimon taught me that it's mutter to get enough from the chametz after Pesach. Answers the Gemara, it's a kanas. Now, where did that kanas come from according to Rav Shimon? It came from the fact that what were you over on? Bal yirah, bal yimatzeh. Lo yireh lecha chametz. Now then the Mishnah says very good. When Mishnah concluded, shenemer lo yireh lecha chametz, which is the impetus of the kanas according to Rav Shimon. Lo yireh lecha chametz, you shouldn't have any chametz by you. And if you did, says Rav Shimon, Kenas. But according to Rav Acha bar Yaakov, that's going with Rav Yehuda. It's the wrong pasuk. So it said Le'yachal Chametz. Answers the Gemara. It's going back on the case of the guy. The why is the guy mother bana according to Rav Acha bar Yaakov because of the Chasar, because of the Gzeres Hakasav, because of the Gzeres Shava at some level of Sa'ar Deriya and Sa'ar Da'achila, and only Lecha, but not of a guy or of Hektish. Moving along, now the Gemara says Va'azdo Litamayu. Rava and Rav Acha bar Yaakov are going to their own shitas. Deitmar. Ha'oichel sa'ar shel nachri shavla Rav Pesach. The different, according to Rav Yehuda, Rava Amar Loika, Rav Acha bar Yaakov Meino Loika. Again, this fits beautifully because again, let's do a recap and then we'll fit all the shitas in. What is the status of the chametz of a guy? According to Rav Acha bar Yaakov, he says Rav Yehuda holds that the guy's chametz is mutter. According to Rava, Rav Shimon holds the guy's chametz is mutter. Everyone's agreeing that the chametz of the guy lachar Pesach is mutter. The question is just who we're going with. So Rav Acha was the first opinion, said it's Rav Yehuda, and Rava was the first opinion, second opinion, said it's Rav Shimon. So says the Gemara now, that we see in a brisa. What does this brisa say? What are the names? The divrei Reb Yehuda. So again, according to Reb Yehuda, Rav Acha learned in Reb Yehuda that what? It's going to be mutter. What does this brisa say? Divrei Reb Yehuda, Rav Amar Loika, Rav Acha Amar Einay Loika. Beautiful. Rav Acha Amar Einay Loika, because Rav Acha learned that the Mishnah is Rav Yehuda, that there's no Malkus. But according to Rava, there will be Malkus according to Rav Yehuda. And Rav Amar Loika, so now the Gemara explains. Rav Amar Loika, why? Lo Yalif Rav Yehuda Sar Dachilim Sar Deriya. Because according to Rava, he learned that the Mishnah is Rav Shimon. So how did he learn Rav Yehuda? The way we originally thought Rav Yehuda, that there's no din of Sar, and therefore there will yes be Malkus. Rav Acha bar Yaakov, what is he going to say? Amar Einay Loika. Why? As we learned, as Rav Acha bar Yaakov explained, that the Mishnah is Rav Yehuda. How is the Mishnah Rav Yehuda? Because a guy is mutter. Why is a guy mutter? Yalav Sa'ar Da'achila is Sa'ar D'Re'iyah. Sa'ar of Achila comes to learn out from Sa'ar of Re'iyah. End of their own shitas. The brisa seemingly proves that which we just said. Again, the Rav Acha is going with Rav Yehuda, holds the guy is mutter. Rav is going with Rav Shimon, holds the guy is mutter. So therefore, according to Rav Acha, what's Rav's opinion going to be? That a guy will yes get Malkus. Says the Gemara of Ahader Bei Rav Acha bar Yaakov Mehi. Rav Acha bar Yaakov is Chayzer. Rav Acha bar Yaakov is explained that our Mishnah is Rav Yehuda holds that a guy is going to be mutter. Sa'ar. Says the Gemara of Acha bar Yaakov is Chayzer. Now, Titania we learned to the brisa. We're now going to have a tremendously lengthy brisa. A brisa with 5 opinions. Opinion number 4 is going to be Rav Acha bar Yaakov. That opinion number 4 is going to prove to us that Rav Acha bar Yaakov is Chayzer from the din of Rav Yehuda that holds that an Achri is mutter. But again, we're going to have to go through opinion 1, 2, 3 till we get there, and then we'll even go to opinion number 5, and that's going to take us all the way well into Amud Beis. Says the Gemara, the Tani we learned to the brisa. Ha'oichel chametz shel hektish. Now, the reason why we pointed out before, if you remember, then we were learning the drasha all the way up top. We said, if you want to look back up, 7 lines to the top, we said, Shalcha iyata roya avalata roya shalachirim v'shel gavoya. So we pointed out that it's not only talking shalachirim is referring to a guy, shal gavoya is referring to hektish. We pointed out, let's remember that that din is referring to hektish, because that is where we're coming to from right now. The Tanya learned to the Brayz Eichel Chametz Shel Hektish. We eat chametz belonging to Hektish. B'moyed, if you eat it on Pesach, Ma'al. You ever in Mi'ila v'yish ayrin loy Ma'al. Of course, we know what is Mila. Mila is using a Hektish, a holy product, holy item, for non-holy purposes, like eating it. So if you ate chametz of Hektish on Pesach, Machlek is whether you're Ma'al or not. Man yesh ayrin. What is going on over here? Opinion number 1. Rav Yechanan, this is Rav Nechunya ben Akanihi. The Tanya. Rav Nechunya ben Akanihi, he says, Yom Kippurim ki Shabbos l'tashlumim. He said Yom Kippur is the same status of Shabbos with regard to paying. What does that mean? Ma Shabbos is chayv v'nafsha oy poter min tashlumim. Av Yom Kippurim is chayv v'nafsha oy poter min tashlumim. This is the famous din of Kimlei b'derabe minei. At any time you have two potential isurim. Someone was over a din that's going to cause him to be chayiv misa. He took an item and he burnt it. He burnt his friend's shirt. He's over something. He did malacha on Shabbos, but simultaneously with the doing the malacha, he caused his friend damage. So does he have to pay his friend, or is he only chayiv misa? Says Rav Yehuda, says from the Choni ben Ekana, that on Shabbos the din is kimlei b'draminei, and you're going to be potter for tashlumim because you're chayiv misa. Says from the Choni ben Ekana, the same din is on Yom Kippur. You're potter for tashlumim because you're chayiv misa. Rav Yosef Amar b'poidim es ha'ekdishim la'achilam niklavin kamiflgi. I'm sorry, that was the end of the first teretz. That was in the Choni ben Ekana's teretz. That's all it was. Now, how it exactly works out, he did not speak out. So we'll go into Rashi for one moment, even though it's a bit of a lengthy Rashi, we're running late on time. Let's see Rashi for one moment. Rashi goes up and Rashi says, what does it mean that you're a Maal? Why would he be Maal? So one important detail I have to know is, in order to be Over Me'ilah, we have to say that the Chametz of Hektish B'Pesach is Bar Damimu. If you see in Rashi, excuse me, V'afsadei LaHektish, meaning, you only could be Over in Me'ilah if there's an item of value that you used, and therefore it's called using that item of value for a non-holy purpose. But if the item is valueless, then it's not called getting benefit from the Beis HaMikdash from Hektish, therefore you would not be over Me'ilah. So seemingly what that the crux of this machlekes is, do we say that the usage of chametz on Pesach is called using an ownerless item? According to what we just said a moment ago, that if on Pesach you can't get benefit, you can't eat it or anything, so one would think that it's an ownerless item. So why would there be Me'ilah? So it says, Rashi explains that in Rav Nechunya ben Ekani's din, he's learning that we're all going in the opinion of Rav Shimon, as you'll see here in Rashi, and that is the reason why there's going to be a potential chiyuv tashlumim. However, according to the other man damar, loimal, like I'm sorry, we're in the middle of Rashi. Chametz daktish pesach bar dam move after daktish kirav Shimon damar chametz lachar pesach mutter. Ah, very good. Rav Shimon holds after Pesach you could get benefit from chametz, and therefore, what's going on over here? Now we want to know if you go and you utilize that chametz on Pesach, is that called utilizing something with value? Because after Pesach it's going to have a value. So says the Gemara. One man Dover says, yeah, it's called using something. It's an eventual damage to the hektish. That's called a damage to hektish right now. It's called Me'ilah. The other man Dover says it's not called Me'ilah. And this machlekes, the Rav Nechunya ben Ekana explained, is going to be dependent upon how you learn this din of burning something, being over on something on Shabbos or Yom Kippur, if you're also chayiv in tashlumim. Again, if you hold you're going to be chayiv in tashlumim, you're going to be chayiv to pay for it. Similarly, the item will be called to have a value. Therefore, you'll be over in Me'ilah. Whereas if you hold that the item you will not be chayiv to pay for the item. Therefore, the item will not have a value. Therefore, you will not be over in Me'ilah. Those are the two opinions according to Rav Nechunya ben Ekana. Moving along, 5 lines to the bottom, Rav Yosef Amar bepoidim es hekdishim la'achil leklavin kamiflgi. The machlekes is that when you redeem hekdish in order to feed it to a dog, man damar mal. According to man damar says you're over in Me'ilah Again, what that has to mean is that the item has a value. Very good. Why does it have a value? Because you can redeem it to give it to the dogs. Opinion number 2. Opinion number 3. Rava learns as follows. Moving along to Chavtes and Beis. Lo shmeitza mishmei Rabbi Yosef balished on the following lashon. The kuli almain poidim ezekdishin. Everyone agrees you cannot be poideh hektish. Lachil and niklam to feed it to the dogs. V'hacha over here, what's the machlekes? Bakam ifligi. B'davar agoyim the mammon k'mammon dami. Again, like we explained, that even though if right now there is no value, but the potential value after Pesach, is that going to be enough of a value? As if you look at Rashi over here in Rabbi Chabar Yak, and I'm sorry, not yet, don't look at that Rashi yet, I'm sorry. Mandamar Moil, according to Mandamar, it says, Yoivra Mila, Kusavar Hold, Davar Goyim the Mam Kimam Dami. Mandamar Loima, Kusavar Davar Goyim the Mam Lav Kimam Dami. That even though, again, you cause a potential loss, is that considered as if it's money or not? Again, we could look at one Rashi for a moment, the top Rashi, it says that everyone agrees you can redeem it. What's the machlekes? As Rashi explains, whether you're using it now, destroying it now, an eventual causation of loss of money, if that's called the loss of money or not. That's the machlekes between the first mandam and the brayso, whether you're Mila or not. 3 opinions so far. Opinion number 4, and let's focus in, everyone, because this is the opinion that we need. Rav Achar bar Yaakov Amar, Rav Achar bar Yaakov. The kuli amad davar agarim the mama kimama dami. A causation of money. If I cause someone an eventual loss, that is the value of money. So everyone should theoretically hold that there is an Isser Milah. The machlekes is within the opinions of Rav Yehuda and Rav Shimon. And now we're going to see very clearly what Rav Achar bar Yaakov holds. Man damar loy mal. To Rav Yehuda, according to Mandamar, that says you're not over a Me'ilah, holds like Rav Yehuda. What does Rav Yehuda hold? If you don't remember, look at Rashi. Rashi says that Afla Achar Pesach Asar Ba'ana, even after Pesach, it's going to be Asar and Ana. Therefore, even though you may hold that causing loss of money is called money, but Rav Yehuda holds that called a loss of money because even after Pesach is going to be forbidden. According to Mandamar, it says that there is Me'ilah, is Rav Shimon. It's all like Rav Shimon, that after Pesach, what's the din? There's going to be mutter, so it's called a causing of a loss of money, so it'll be forbidden. Now the Gemara speaks out its question. Rav Achar bar Yaakov explained to us earlier that he holds that Rav Yehuda learns meaning that it's coming to exclude what? What was lecha? What was the Josh Ladav Amid Aleph? Lecha and not lecha of acherim, a guy, or lecha of hektish. The Rav Yehuda was coming to say that hektish you'll be over on. The opposite, you'll be putter on. What do you mean if you're going to be putter on hektish? Then how over here are we saying that according to Rav Yehuda? According to Rav Yehuda, again, Mandamar loy mal is going to, according to Rav Yehuda, I said it backwards. Let's say it one more time. I got myself confused. One more time. According to Mandamar, loymal, which says the Gemara, it's like Rav Yehuda that even after Pesach it's Asar Ba'ana. What was the drush of Lecha? There it is. That only you're Asar Ba'ana, but a guy is Chametz, a hektish is Chametz, is Mutter and Ana. If that's what Rav Achar bar Yaakov learned Rav Yehuda, then how does he learn this brayso? Elamai, Allah to be Rav Achar bar Yaakov. Very simply, Rav Achar bar Yaakov had to be Chayzer. Because if Rav Achar bar Yaakov stuck to his guns, that what Rav Yehuda held, that everything is aser, then it wouldn't fit with this brayso. Again, if Rav Achar bar Yaakov stuck to his guns, that he learned according to Rav Yehuda, the drush of Sa'ar, which comes to Lacha, only your items, and not the item of Hektish, or of a guy, then it should have been mutter. So therefore we see Rav Achar bar Yaakov was chayzer. Now we call the 5th and final opinion Rashi, Amar Dekli Alma Ein Baidim, you're not allowed to redeem the hektish. V'davar Gavim the Mamad Lav Kamam Dami, does not have a value. But Halcha Pavlok Javi Yisek Lili Rabbanik Mefligi, which also was a nice recap. Mandamar Ma'al Kivasek Lili, Kivasek Lili was Kaiver Bakol. He didn't understand this whole halacha. What are you talking about? It's also an Ana. Says basically, of course it's mutter and Ana. So therefore it's going to be Ivra Mila. Mandamar Loimal is Kirabanan. That is the end of this discussion. Now let's finish off today's daf with the beginning of a new sugya. Amar Rav Chametz Bizmanoi Bein B'minoi Bein Shloim B'minoi Aser. Now we're going to deal with how do we view chametz when it gets mixed together with something else. Says Rav, and we have basically a machlekes Rav and Shmuel. And within Rav and Shmuel, we're going to discuss chametz on Pesach, chametz after Pesach, and we're going to discuss what the chametz gets mixed into. Chametz Bizmanoi Bein B'minoi Bein Shloim B'minoi is Aser. Shaloi bizmanoi after Pesach, b'minoi, if it gets mixed in his own item, aser. It's going to be forbidden as well. Shaloi b'minoi, mutter. If it gets mixed in a different item, then it's going to be batal. It's going to be nullified, and it'll be mutter. Says the Gemara, b'mayaskinan, ilema b'naisin tam. If you're done with an item, a piece of chametz just gives off taste, shloi bizmanoi, shloi b'minoi, mutter. Hayav daima. How can it be batal? We know the general rule is you can't be mevatel something that gives off a taste. So if it's giving off a good taste, how are you telling me shloi bizmanoi is mutter, shloi b'minoi it's mutter? How's it mutter? It's giving it a good taste. Elo b'mashu. We're either talking about a dot of chametz. El mashu chametz bizmanoi. During its time, being b'minoi, being shloi b'minoi, it's aser. Whether it's mixed with its own item or not, it's going to be forbidden because it's one dot and it's on Pesach. And therefore, what? Rav l'taimei, the Rav Ushmol, the Mertavayo, call Yisurin Shabbat Tayrah, b'minoi, b'mashu. With a min, its own item will be it's aser b'mashu. Shalei b'minoi b'naisin tam. And therefore, that's the reason why on Pesach it's going to be forbidden. Rav gozar chametz bizmanoi shaloi b'minoi. Rav made a gezira of the chametz on in its zman on Pesach shaloi b'minoi, even when it's in a different item, which is breaks the rules because if it's mixed with a different item, it should yes be batal. Atu minoi, because it might come mixed with something that's similar to it. V'shaloi bizmanoi. And what about something that's mixed after Pesach? B'minoi aser ki Reb Yehuda. Like we know Reb Yehuda holds after Pesach, it still is aser. So if it's mixed b'minoi with its own item, also like Reb Yehuda. V'shaloi b'minoi mutter. But if it's mixed with a different item, it's going to be mutter. Why? The shaloi bizmanoi v'shaloi b'minoi atu minoi kuliyai lo gazrinon. That's too far. It's not at the right time, and it's not the right, and it's not the same item. Then we're not going to make a gzeira. And Shmuel Amar chametz bizmanoi b'minoi aser shloi b'minoi mutter shaloi bizmanoi b'minoi ben shloi b'minoi mutter chametz bizmanoi b'minoi aser Shmuel Tamei Rav Shmuel Dar Mertavayo kol Yisurin Shabbat Tayrah b'minoi aser b'asher shloi b'minoi b'naisin tam shloi b'minoi atamino lo gazer shloi bizmanoi b'minoi ben shloi b'minoi mutar. And Rav Shimon, Rav Shimon holds that every item is mutter after Pesach. Rav Yechanan Amar, a third opinion, chametz bizmanoi b'minoi ben shloi b'minoi aser b'naisin tam shloi bizmanoi b'minoi ben shloi b'minoi mutter chametz bizmanoi b'minoi ben shloi b'minoi b'naisin tam. And Rav Yechanan Tamei Rav Yechanan Reish Lakish Dar Mertavayo kol Yisurin Shabbat Tayrah b'minoi ben shloi b'minoi b'naisin tam shloi bizmanoi b'minoi ben shloi b'minoi mutar. And Rav Shimon. And of course, as you realized, we're going to go over this last piece of Gemara from the two dots in tomorrow's daf.